Welcome to episode 158 of the Campus Comics Cast. In this episode, we're going to talk about the April 2023 previews catalog, and while we're no fools, hence a late April Fool's joke. Well, maybe we are fools. I don't know. My name's Scott Reed. I'm joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison
and Chad Schubert.
And before we dig into the previews catalog, there were a couple of things that caught our interest. One, I don't know how big of an announcement this actually is for Marvel, but Ike Perlmutter, longtime Marvel Entertainment CEO, is no longer with Disney/Marvel. And he was, he's been at Marvel for a long time. And he, like some of the articles that I've read, said that he's like the largest individual shareholder in Disney. So anyway, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts, comments about that.
I read the article. Actually, I heard about it a day or two ago. I don't know how old this news is. But the first thing I thought was, wait, are they talking about Ron Perlman, from bankruptcy? I'm like, oh no, it's Ike Perlmutter. Okay, so different guy. So I learned some things about him I wasn't aware of. He's been under heat in the past for being not exactly a open-minded individual. I guess there's anecdotal stories about him being notoriously frugal, digging paper clips out of trash cans. These are all new things to me, but to me, the bigger news is, what does this mean for Marvel Entertainment as a separate entity, even if it is sort of even if it was a subsidiary, if that's the word, of
subsidiary,
Disney.
I think is the word you're looking for.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Even if that was the case, if he's gone and they're rolling this all into Disney proper, it makes you wonder. Just makes you wonder about the industry.
I feel like the Marvel name is big enough that Marvel is going to stick around. It's not going to go away. We're going to start getting Captain America a Disney comic. I don't feel like that's going to happen. But it does make you wonder if there's going to be some big changes at Marvel Comics or not. It's kind of it's I guess there's reason to be concerned, but when you read some of these stories about his history, it's like, this guy kind of probably just needed to be gone.
Right.
And that may actually end up being better for Marvel if they can actually, spend some money as opposed to trying to constantly save pennies and have a misogynistic leader and all that fun stuff. So could be better for them long term. So
new leadership potentially could bring new ideas to it all and give them a shot to try new things out.
Yeah, I looked at this article with Comics Beat, and it basically implies that they had to get rid of all of Marvel Entertainment. Was like the only way that they could fire him. So it's kind of like where they basically had to eliminate that entire section so that he wouldn't have a job, whereas those things can then be rolled into something else. But I guess, time will tell, because the article I'm reading is dated March 29th. So we're recording this April 6th. So, we're about a week out from this announcement. And the other thing is like, apparently along with this, there's like reports there's going to be like 7,000 layoffs at Disney, and how many of those layoffs may come out of Marvel, so it's, I don't know, it's a little disconcerting, but I think the Marvel name is big enough to weather the storm myself. So
I would agree. I would agree with that they can still market the content as Marvel. They can slap that unmistakable name on anything. But what I worry is that they start having people involved that aren't really from the comics industry. They'll be from movies or TV, and I already think that we have comic books that are written like TV scripts. They're all dialogue. They're not. There's no narration in boxes. It's just, to me, I think that's one of the biggest differences between now and 20 years ago. But yeah, he also sort of invited trouble whenever it said here he tried to force one of his buddies onto the board.
Yeah.
So
this didn't. Yeah, so I feel like this decision is more about him and some of his decisions he was making as opposed to the state of Marvel.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a personality change than a there's trouble at Marvel Comics. So, but I don't know, Shad, you got anything you want to add or comment?
Nope.
Okay.
Shad was shaking his head like, great radio.
Yeah.
No, this is, I mean, you guys said it all.
I'd never really noticed. I don't think that I've picked up a ton of Marvel books, but I've heard that the paper stock was pretty cheap. The interior pages. Scott, is that something? Is that? Have you noticed that, or is that? Accurate?
Maybe it is. Maybe it's one of those decisions that the comic book publishing industry has historically always had the publisher who's doing everything to save pennies.
Mm-hmm.
Which got us all that whole contract for hire work for Kirby. I mean, you can go all the way back in history. So, the publishers are there just to make money, not to put out quality comics. So it's. I don't know. I got distracted. I was looking at this list of things that he was allegedly known for. And, who knows how much of this is true, but the list is just, some ways it's scary and sometimes it's scary.
Scarier.
He told Marvel employees they should buy their own toilet paper. He told Marvel employees they could only make one pot of coffee a day. Yeah, this is the one you mentioned. He literally went through waste baskets and fished out paper clips and Post-it notes. This is a bad one. When Terrence Howard wanted a raise for the role of Rhodey in the Iron Man franchise, Ike Perlmutter fired him and hired Don Cheadle, allegedly telling a Disney exec that no one would notice because black people look the same.
Oh my!
And I'm reading this straight from comicsbeat.com, so that just wanting to cite the source of this information. He allegedly told a female executive at Disney that he clashed with that he had a bullet with her name on it. He also clashed with 3 black female executives at Disney Consumer Products, including current DC head Pam Lifford, who quit and then got a settlement. And there's this, I didn't even get through half of the list. So there's a whole lot of other little bullets of all of these things. So yeah, if you go to Comics Beat, search for Ike Perlmutter, you'll probably find that within the top 2 or 3 hits of this list of things that he allegedly did. So it for sure is a personality issue, I think.
Yeah. And presumably the reason they didn't get rid of him earlier was because of his shareholding.
His shareholding clout.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. Because I mean, he's the one though that was there that got the $4 billion from Disney for Marvel. He was the guy, and to maybe put some things positive onto him, he was the guy that basically risked it for Marvel Studios. So that was under his watch. So I mean, that first Iron Man movie was, right there under his watch, and he basically brought Marvel out of bankruptcy. And what you had mentioned earlier, the Perlman,
Ron Perlman,
yeah. Well, not Ron Perlman, Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Not the former Hellboy, right?
Or the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, the other thing, a little bit more positive, right, is DC did recently release the. Is this the first trailer for Blue Beetle, or is this
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So we do finally have a Blue Beetle trailer. Mike, how disappointed are you that there's no Ted Kord in this trailer?
Well, what I'd like to say in my best French, au contraire, mon frère.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to say that I pay close enough attention to a trailer, but I watched the trailer a couple days ago, and then I heard on a podcast just today or yesterday mention of this. So that's really why I wanted to rewatch this right before we started recording. But there is, if not a scene where there's Ted Kord, but there is in basically Blue Beetle's Bat Cave or Beetle Cave.
Mm-hmm.
Is there at the very end of the trailer?
Yep.
There is a statue or uniforms for not only the Ted Kord Blue Beetle, but the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle as well. So if you were to fast forward to, if you're looking at the same site, well, I'm on the DC site.
Okay. I see it like about 240.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And they're just so. And I think I heard that there was the bug, his flying
Yes.
ship was also in it. So.
Well, that was one of my, the nitpicky fanboy going, why do we need the bug when he has a suit that can take him into space? It's like he doesn't really need that. So that's kind of going to be a weird thing for them to try to explain, for this video, to me at least. But if you do have the Ted Kord costume there, that just makes a little bit of a difference. So. And
I had heard that Ted Kord was going to be like a mentor to him.
That ties into like the New 52 reboot of the character, and I don't know if that was also true going back to Infinite Crisis or not.
That was his first appearance, was Infinite Crisis, yeah.
But was Ted Kord kind of the mentor from the get-go?
Honestly, I don't remember. I don't think so. No, okay. I think at that time, in Infinite Crisis, Ted had just been killed. He was killed in the countdown to Infinite Crisis, and maybe years later when Jaime Reyes got his own series, that's when I think Ted Kord.
Okay, so it was with the New 52 reboot then that Ted Kord took on the mentor role. So that's where I first remember their interaction was from New 52. So
overall, I guess.
Oh, go ahead, Chad.
Susan Sarandon's character is Victoria Kord, Ted Kord's sister.
Oh,
okay. So I didn't look at the cast list or anything.
She's the villain, I guess, and that is new Blue Beetle stuff as she's in the comics. Victoria Kord is somewhat of a villain, I guess, to him in the comics, and that is Ted's sister.
Oh, okay.
You see my hands folded in prayer for a cameo of Booster Gold, though, in this.
Well, isn't Booster Gold on the list for movies?
Or a movie or a show or something?
Yeah, it would be ridiculous for them not to put Booster in there if that's. I don't care. Post-credit scene, something.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out if they have any. Well, I guess part of it's going to depend on if this is considered the old DCU or if this is part of the new DCU, and we don't know.
It's probably going to be
based on how it tests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be somewhat of a bridge, sort of like Flash. They're not shuttering it, so they got to somehow make it work. And I didn't really speak to the whole thing. So far I've only talked about that last couple seconds, but I thought the whole George Lopez is one of my favorite comedic actors.
And that's one of the things that gives me pause for this is they're gonna play it for laughs? I don't want that. I don't want these shows played for laughs again. And I generally I like George Lopez too, but is he going to be a good fit for this? Are we going to get the kind of movie that I want? And that does give me some concern.
I don't think this is a movie that's going to be full of gravity. I don't think Blue Beetle's even a character that you can expect that. And George Lopez, I don't know if but they say if you can do comedy, you can do anything. You can definitely do drama. Yeah. What they showed in the preview or the trailer was more sort of like comedy, like haha. But honestly, the
Batman, he's a fascist.
Yeah. Overall, it looks like a cool mix between Spider-Man and Iron Man.
And that's going to be one of its big weaknesses. Is it just a
rip-off
of either Iron Man or Spider-Man, right? Because even the armor, just a different color, looks kind of like some of the Spidey armor, So
here's something neither one of those movies can say they did, and that's having a primarily Hispanic cast.
Yeah.
So I think that is a bridge that's yet to be really crossed in superhero movies. Yeah.
Black Panther.
I said Hispanic.
Okay,
not
Hispanic.
minority,
Okay,
Hispanic.
okay, okay. All right. Okay, just checking. So, I mean, if all you're doing is, but if the end product is just redoing Spider-Man or Iron Man with a Hispanic cast, that's no innovation. So
no, but you think about one way out, and I'm not being the DC fanboy defending everything, but that's what I do. That's what I do. You think about how many Spider-Man comics have come out over the years, thousands and thousands and thousands, with the same basic premise that Peter Parker is a certain type of person, quippy, fun, heroic, whatever. That can be replicated without being redundant, I think. And I think if they find the right balance, I think they can do that with this show. But who knows?
I'm just hopeful. I mean, I'm fine with I'm even fine with an Iron Man ripoff or a Spider-Man ripoff. That's totally fine with me. As long as it's got a good story, makes sense, does not demean the characters, it's going to go a long way. It's going to go a long way with me. Yeah. So I don't want another. I don't want another Thor Ragnarok. I don't want another Thor Love and Thunder. I don't want any of those movies.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the key difference in characters is going to make that.
And the fact that we have a Hispanic cast, I think, is also gonna help prevent some of that comedic take on the characters. It won't be as bad as what it would be if this was a Blue Beetle, a Ted Kord Blue Beetle, which would just be a bunch of white guys in it. You wouldn't have that same take on it. So.
I thought it was just visually, I thought it was a lot darker than I was going to expect it to be. Like not the tone of the weight of it, but visually it just seemed like it was toned darker in the trailer at least. And I was like, I was kind of wanting a brighter movie with this Blue Beetle. I wanted the suit to be vibrant all the way through, and I really love the logo. And so just looking at it from that aesthetic by itself, I was like, you could have given me a lot more vibrant neon colors for this.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, if they stuck to the original design, that's the colors that were in his original.
It's the black and the blue.
Yeah.
Whereas Ted Kord was like light blue and blue, and Dan Garrett was light blue or kind of medium blue and red.
Well, not even just the suit, but like the way it shot was kind of shadowy and dark. Like nothing was brightly lit, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and we're not in the final. I mean, that's not a final cut too.
And it may be my phone when I'm watching while I'm driving. I don't know.
Oh, you're driving.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But going back to the Spider-Man comparison on this, you do have that thing in Far From Home, right, where you have oh gosh, I forgot the name of the artificial intelligence in that was in the glasses, Edith. That where there's this misunderstanding between what Peter Parker wants and what the AI wants to do,
right?
And I feel like we're going to get some of that same thing with what Jaime wants the Scarab to do and what the Scarab actually does. There's going to be this conflict, and it's going to be a little back and forth. No, don't kill that person. We've heard before. So.
I would agree with the whole AI thing. I think you have to be careful with having that AI suit or AI and whatever that's guiding things. And yeah, that gives me a little bit of pause. I'd rather it not talk. I'd rather it just.
But that lines up with at least the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle that I know. So that is pulled directly from the comics. So
yeah.
But as long as like I said, we need to come up with, if they're going to put some jokes, they need to be smart and they need to be new, not just rehashing the same thing we've seen before. So
yeah.
Okay, so Mike, you excited to see the movie?
I am. I mean, there's a lot of. I'm still waiting for that big redemption arc of movies that brings me back to happiness with DC movies. There's been some bright spots in the last 6, 7, 8 years, but not a bunch of them. So I'm hoping this just kind of is this or maybe the Flash movie, which comes out a couple months before it, right?
Yeah. Right. So this is August, right?
August, yeah.
Yeah. I hope that just forges a new path and, gives, I like to say I'm not a fan of DC as a company. I'm a fan of these characters because that's what I grew up with. So I want to see them treated right, just like what you said, Scott. Treat them with dignity and not as jokes.
Shad, you more or less are excited about this?
I would mark it somewhat excited if that was on the scale.
Works for me.
All right, cool.
Okay. Anything you want to add about the show?
No, that's it.
Okay. I don't. It doesn't matter if I'm excited for it or not. I will go see it opening night, like I have every single other one of these movies. I'm even going to go see Aquaman 2 opening night. As much as I'm not looking forward to that movie whenever it comes out.
You have to let me know what theater you're going to, so I can sneak into the back row
and just hear every time to hear me groan.
I want, and plus I'll laugh. I'll have fake laughs at all the bad jokes.
Okay, all right, good, yeah. Just give me somebody to throw popcorn out. All right, well, this is supposed to be a previews episode, so why don't we dig into previews? Since we talked about DC, we might as well dig first into the DC catalog. And on page 1, guess what? We're back to Batman showcasing the entire thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have to say one more thing about Blue Beetle. I completely forgot to mention this. They finally put an ad for a comic book at the end of the trailer. How hard is that to do? It takes 2 seconds of the time, and they say, go read where it all started. And they showed Infinite Crisis. They showed
Graduation Day.
Yeah, and what did they show? Maybe even New 52. I can't remember what the third one was. They showed 3 different trades for Blue Beetle at the end of the trailer. Thank you, DC.
So, like we've been hoping for years now, somebody at DC is listening. They probably have us on their short list of podcasts.
That's right. Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, so back to the DC catalog. Batman 136. Batman's back in front of the catalog. So Superman was there for a little while. Now Supes is who knows what page he's been demoted to. Yeah. Still Chip Zdarsky. Looks like he's starting a new run on issue 136.
New art, Beline, or I know the accent marks over the second syllable, but Beline Ortega, if that's right. I don't know that I know that person as an artist, so I wouldn't think they'd put a brand new person, new artist on this title with being Batman and Chip Zdarsky writing. So I think we have hope there.
Page 2, you got a Penguin #1 written by Tom King. Now, here's my question. I got a quiz for you guys. All right. Okay. I want you to compare the Surdesi variant with the 1 in 50 variant cover and tell me all the differences.
That artwork is horrible. That's all I gotta say. I was like, why is this?
It looks like ChatGPT artwork.
Now I don't know. I'm looking at the digital version of the DC Connect. They're the same, right?
He's got more.
Looks to be, yeah.
He's got sleeves. He's got tattoo sleeves.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I see that, and you've got Clayface up at the top.
Yeah.
Okay, I see the difference.
I think that might be the only difference, though.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So there's the Riddler and stuff down the arm. Okay. So you got the extra characters down the side. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And he's got the Harley Quinn tramp stamp.
Yeah, right. That's what I was gonna say. Yep. That's funny.
Is that okay to say?
Lower back tattoo.
I guess. I mean,
it is on the Penguin, so Now I got to point out that why is Penguin issue 0 listed after Penguin #1?
Right.
Should that not be in order?
They're two different. Well, Penguin 0 is reprints from they were those backstories.
Well, it's written by Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah,
were they his reprints?
They were the second stories in those Batman stories. Okay. It's where we had that first appearance of the Executor.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, these are reprints. I wish they would say that, but It's just a
Yeah,
collection of those.
I just saw
They were-
Penguin Zero written by
Well, it does
somebody
say
else.
collect the Batman 125 through 127 backup stories.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I didn't read it. I just saw Penguin Zero and said that.
Oh,
should be
and
cool.
that Belin Ortega was the artist who was doing those backup stories.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. And those were pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Let's see. Page 4, Mike. Batman Brave Bull 2.
Yeah, I mean, I probably ordered number 1. Again, this is what, some sort of an anthology title. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
my experience with those is you'll get one really good story, and then the rest of them will be kind of subpar. But we'll see.
I don't know. You've got Tom King, Ed Brisson, Christopher Cantwell, and
Yeah.
Joel Jones as the writers. So.
Well, I can, King and
that's-
Cantwell for sure I know are good
Mhm.
writers. Joel Jones is a great artist, but I don't know that I'd read anything that was just blew me away that she wrote. So yeah, I'm going to get it, but I can't say much about it.
Okay. My next thing's on page 9.
Yeah, I'm at page. Yeah, that's where I was. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm only mentioning it for one reason, and a new character, and we don't know if it's a good guy or a bad guy, but Blue Earth, along
Mhm.
with the shocking origin of Blue Earth. There you go.
Yeah.
Action Comics number 1056.
Yeah.
And we're back in the 90s with all the swimsuit covers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
real
far,
silly.
Action Comics has turned into I'd call it a Superman family. They call it in the solicit here Super Family, and it's crowded. It's super crowded, and I think it's some of it's okay, but I'm like, wow, how many big S's can we have in one book without sort of taking the specialness away?
If everybody's super, nobody's super.
Yeah, this doesn't live up to Philip Kennedy Johnson's work in that seemingly endless War World saga. As much as I liked it, it took forever. But yeah, I'm still kind of on the fence of whether I'll keep buying Action Comics. Oh, I know, page 10, and I know this is they only put this variant cover on the solicit for Superboy, the Man of Tomorrow. This is the Connor Kent spinoff mini, and this is issue 3. But I don't even understand why they made his nose look like Pinocchio. I don't even understand that. I know it's sort of maybe an manga looking thing, or
It looks like Jughead from the Archie.
It does.
comic.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I hate.
Shall I say it's stylized?
No, I knew. Yeah, that was an opening for you there. So yeah, it's definitely this Lopez Ortiz's style maybe, but that would put me off. And it's funny how something small like that can completely turn you off from a book, and that's because it's a visual medium.
A variant, or is it a variant? Yeah, it's a variant.
It's a variant, true.
And he's not doing the interiors.
True. But they put it in the doggone DC Connect, so people are going to go,
well, because he was the guy that got his done on time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Janoy Lindsay did not.
Right. 12. I have 12. You want to talk about 12? You just gonna leave it for me.
You can have it.
Okay, so Steelworks number 1, new series written by Michael Dorn. So anybody who is a fan of Star Trek knows him as Lieutenant Worf, right? But apparently he also did the voice of Steel in the Superman the animated series. So now they are giving him the character Steel to write about, and which is something that I did not realize. Apparently, I don't know how long this has been going on, but John Henry Irons is in a relationship with Lana Lang.
Mm-hmm.
So how long has that been going on, Mike?
I can't remember when or where I first read that, but that I did know that was a thing. And, I think it's great because they actually Lana Lang doesn't get much airtime, so to speak.
Well, we talked about after, what did we read? Superman, was it All-Star Superman or Superman?
All Seasons.
All Seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
Lana was in there. And so it's odd for me. That's what really caught my attention, was her name popping up again.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was in Action Comics because, he's been John Henry Irons has been around for a long time, but and there was a time when you didn't see much of him. But
he was Death of Superman time frame, right?
Yeah, he was in the the what was it called, the 4?
Yeah, he was in Man of Steel.
Yes, but even there was a little bit of a lull. I mean, he was in the JLA and stuff, but there was a lull for some time, and now recently he's been involved in the Action Comics, again, the War World stuff with his daughter, and maybe that's where I seen where he was in a relationship with Lana, and she's a great character. So I'm hoping. Now, I don't know how Michael Dorn is as a writer, but
I guess we're gonna find out.
We will. It's a 6-issue. I think there's a lot could be done with this. I don't know what the premise will be. I haven't read it that closely, but I'm definitely going to pick this up. This is one of those miniseries that it's just a character I believe in enough that I'm going to get it, despite not knowing really how it might turn out.
What's his daughter's superhero name? Is she just Steel also, or does she have a different name?
I am embarrassed to say
Natasha
Irons is her name, but
yeah. How does the other Steel John's niece? So apparently she's just Steel as well. So
maybe, yeah. Okay. And she's got more cybernetic stuff going on too. She's pretty powerful.
16 is my next thing.
We are completely on the same page.
Well, you go ahead.
Okay, so this is Green Arrow number 3. And it's, again, got a new character alert in big, bold letters. The new character, it seems to be someone called Peace Wrecker. And by the cover image, it looks like a female version of Peacemaker. Okay. It's jumping the shark a bit, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were going to say about it, Scott. But
you said more than I was going to say about it. So there you go. New character, Peace Wrecker. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's the third issue. I mean, Green Arrow is another title where I think it benefits from a big expanded family, more so than I think Superman. I think it's these are non-powered; they're just extraordinarily skilled people, and he over the years has accrued quite the family and side characters and etc. So I like that part, but bringing Peacemaker in, it definitely feels like a very early jump the shark moment.
22 is where I'm going next.
I've got a brief mention on 18. Okay. It's just that every month for like the last few months on the Harley Quinn ones, they have the little boom out, like they have like new character alert, and they're just dumb little things. And this one says Ivy's home. And it makes me, I just want to pay attention to it because somebody is putting the work in to write a little joke on the Harley Quinn books to be like, hey, we're just gonna point out things that don't even matter. Because I think like last time it was something about like we honor continuity or something like that. So just kudos to whoever's writing the little plosives for the Harley Quinn book.
But while we're on those pages, though, these are all the second issues, not Harley Quinn, but the other ones on these pages. You have Spirit World number 2, City Boy number 2, The Vigil number 2. These are all Asian creators under the headline "We Are Legends," and I am getting all of them. I think I'm most confident in The Vigil, which is written by Ram V. Although City Boy by Greg Pak. Greg Pak's a pretty good creator too. So.
The City Boy character just looks completely uninteresting to me. I don't know if it's the parachute pants or what, but
it's like back to the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, the Vigil reminds me of something that like is coming out like the Batman Beyond kind of era.
Oh yeah.
And I was looking at this one and I was like, man, I wish I would have got Vigil number 1. But I'll definitely be reading it as it comes out.
Yeah.
22.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, go ahead. You can talk about 22 and 24 both. Go right on.
Okay. Okay, so this is Flash number 800. It's the culmination in the last issue of the Jeremy Adams much acclaimed run. It's got Mark Waid, Joshua Williamson, Jeff Johns, and Cy Spurrier, which the first 4 or 5 there have written extensive runs on the Flash, and then Cy Spurrier is going to be the new writer on the new volume. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it's an anniversary issue. I'd be getting it. Although I have about 6 of those issues I need to catch up on before I read this one. So, any comments on it?
Nope.
I don't like his nose on that main cover. That's my only comment.
I don't like the cowl. I don't like that particular
the cowl,
shape of the cowl. Yeah, that's what does it. And honestly, when you got too many, that's a sign of having too many Flashes in the world. They needed to have left Barry Allen dead. I've said this before. Much as I loved Barry Allen and I grew up with him in the 90s, when Wally became the Flash, it was a true, very fluid, natural inheritance of the role, and it was the best run of Flash I had ever read. I mean, consistently for a decade or more. And when they brought Barry back, it just made so many things redundant, just like what we said earlier with too many super people makes nobody super, and too many Flashes. I like having different Flash or speedster characters, but you can't have 2 Flashes. It's like the Kid Flash thing. You can't have whether it be Bart Allen or Wallace West or Wally West or whoever. You need to stick to your they need to cut it back a bit. But again, no one at DC has called me back on that.
No, I mean, it's just the issue is that the cast have become too large on a lot of these DC books.
I mean, even Linda Park. I mean, I don't want to have any spoilers here, but Linda Park, Wally's wife, just recently got speedster powers.
Oh gosh!
Now it's Wally, his wife, and his kids. Oh my god. Anyway, it's a little bit too much. So on to Wonder Woman 800. Again, it's legacy numbering, and the difference between this title and the Flash is that the writing has not been great for the last couple of years, and I've been continually buying the issues just because I wanted to have that connectivity between. I knew they would do something big for issue 800, and they'd have someone come in big to take over with a new number 1 or a new arc or whatever, and it is going to be, if it hasn't been said yet, Tom King. Oh. So very interested to see how that goes. There's not been a whole lot of issues that I've really enjoyed with this run where it's been written by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad, and a variety of artists. But yeah, so time for a change.
My next thing's 31.
I'll pick up on 26. Just to mention, it's the DC Pride 2023 issue. Kind of the same as we've seen the last few years. Our different characters that are in the LGBTQ world that they kind of showcase with an anthology book. But what I thought was cooler, or more cool, is on page 29. They're doing a DC Pride Through the Years #1, which reprints some key issues from our LGBTQ characters over the last few years. The Flash number 53 from 91, Detective Comics 854, Supergirl 19, and then an all-new Alan Scott story.
And I'm happy to say that I had that one earmarked as well, Shad, the DC Pride Through the Years, because I remember it was quite the deal when Catherine Kane. Mm-hmm. Wait, am I getting her name right? Yeah. When that character was introduced, as a gay superhero, but I also remember very vividly the Pied Piper coming out, and that was an existing Flash Rogues Gallery member, and that was in the 90s. So I remember that being quite the deal, and really it was in the Jeff Johns run.
Okay.
The Supergirl, I wasn't picking up Supergirl when this character. I forgot what the name is.
Serrano.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Don't remember that, but I do. And then also the Alan Scott sort of retroactively was announced. And when do you remember about a decade ago they had the Earth 2 series, and it made big news as the Green Lantern was gay. Of course, it was kind of a cheat because
it was a bait and switch on DC.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. It was not the Green Lantern that people knew. It was
everybody knew, right? Yeah,
right. otherwise, I think it's yeah, I'm going to pick up this Through the Years one.
Yeah, and that cover is just cool. I like the retro look of that cover.
Oh yeah, looks got almost like the pages are sort of yellowed out. It'd be great if it was like a little bit oversized, like Golden Age size.
Be cool.
Oh, I got 31.
I have 31 also. So
God, man, been looking at my notes.
Well, we got Peacemaker Tries Hard #2. Just got to mention it because Kyle Starks was at my show last year, so it was just wanted to plug his book again here at DC, and this is issue 2 of a 6-issue series.
Now, okay, yeah, I'm getting this series for sure because it's one of them.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's the series is probably matching the title by trying so hard. But that's just makes sense because it's Peacemaker and but what really sells it is having Monsieur Mallah as a villain or as a guest star in this issue. He's one of my favorite. He and the Brain together are one of my favorite villain pairs there. And honestly, believe it or not, even though it's not a consummation type relationship, because the Brain is literally a brain encased in a machine that wheels around, and Mallah is a gorilla, but they are lovers. So I don't know if they don't have the gay pride on this, but I see that's where your editors are missing out right there. That was established some time ago that they are more than just old buddies, so yeah, I'm excited to read that.
I don't know anything about this gorilla, but I love these throwing devil horns up.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not to like about a gorilla with a beret, with a communist beret and an ammunition belt thrown across the chest.
I think that those characters were in the Doom Patrol 4th season.
Yeah. Oh, in the TV show?
In the TV show, yeah. I may be misremembering, but
they probably were because that's the series, the comic series that they were brought in. Okay. Yeah.
I'm on 36.
Well, okay.
Okay, so we have Static Team Up Anansi #1, and I'm just mentioning this because apparently this is going to be the first appearance of a character that previously was in the Static animated TV series. So this will be the first printed comic book appearance for this character, Anansi, and I guess it's I guess from the TV show, they're basically saying that, I'm losing the dialogue here. A Static Shop animated series hero makes his comic debut in this can't miss one shot. So,
yeah, Anansi is an African god originally. I don't know what they did with him in the show, but
okay. Then I have just something on the very last page, 49. I
don't think I've got anything else in the book.
Okay. No, everything else is just continuing series of what I'm getting, and
I just saw here that they are starting a Gotham Knights series on CW, which means it will probably be good for about half a season, and then it will have too many characters. But anyway,
it's like anymore if they say CW, I'm just out.
Yeah, I've stopped watching anything CW. I do intend to go back and watch the 4th season of Black Lightning, but I haven't made it back to it yet. So
yeah, they, like you said, sometimes with some of the shows they start out okay, and then it just becomes such a soap opera. And honestly, I get more enjoyment watching Young and the Restless with my wife than I do watching these CW shows.
Oh gosh, we on to Marvel?
Yep.
All right. So, back a few years ago, they had Secret Wars to kill off the Ultimate Universe, but now we have Ultimate Invasion, #1 of 4-issue series, which is bringing back a lot of those Ultimate Universe characters. Right. Written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Brian Hitch, who, Hickman was part of the Secret Wars that ended the Ultimates. Brian Hitch was a big artist for Ultimates back when that was being printed. But we have like the Maker, who who I thought was Reed Richards, but I may not be remembering correctly. The Ultimate's Reed Richard. And then of course, Miles Morales, who is like the one big carryover from the Ultimates universe into the 616 universe. But it is only 4 issues, not a complete like crossover type of a thing. So I don't know. I guess if you're missing your Ultimates characters or were a big fan of Secret Wars, then you need to probably pick this up. Otherwise, it's probably worth skipping. I can't imagine anything big will come out of it, that will affect the universe.
Kind of a little just a nostalgia thing to just be like, check it out.
Yeah. Page 6, you got Incredible Hulk #1, new creative team, well, at least a new writer. I can't remember who the artist was while Donny Cates was writing, but we got Philip Kennedy Johnson taking over the writing duties on Incredible Hulk #1. I did not read any of the Donny Cates run just because I just didn't think that I would like it, so I didn't even want to try it. But I had to talk to a friend who was actually reading the book, and he's a big Hulk fan, and he was just not a fan of the series. So hopefully this will give him something to look forward to.
This seems a little bit more horror focused again.
And kind of monsters. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, Atch says a lot of good things about Philip Kennedy Johnson. So,
he seems to be an intelligent writer. It just seems that he's just a cut above Philip Kennedy Johnson. So this is an issue that I did earmark that I'm going to pick up the first couple just to see how it goes.
And I like this Nick Klein's artwork. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like a little bit tighter version of like Jeff Lemire's art. Like it's still a little bit loose. It's still a little stylized, but it's a little tighter than Lemire's, I think.
Page 9. We've got Black Panther #1. Not a creative team that I am familiar with. Eve L. Ewing is the writer. Curious if there's any relation to Al Ewing, but probably just a coincidence. And art by Chris Allen. Of course, over in the Black Panther, what would have been the title currently, T'Challa is no longer king because Wakanda turned into a democracy. So now you have a king without a country. So I guess they have to come up with something for him to do. So this is what he'll be doing. Wandering the streets of Wakanda a la Batman.
Not related to Al Ewing, just checked.
Okay, thank you. Though I really do dig this variant cover by Raza. It's the upper right-hand corner one, which kind of has to it. That's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it does look good.
Cool. Page 12. Got a Loki 4-issue series. The Frank Miller cover caught my eye. But this, at least they're going to get this out prior to the start of the Loki Disney series whenever it gets around to its second season. So there'll be something new on the shelf for anybody who, happens to see the series and wants to read a comic.
Yeah.
I like that he is now the Prince of Stories as opposed to the Prince of Lies
yeah. Well, what are stories if they're not lies?
That's right. God of Stories as opposed to God of Lies. There you go. Yes. So trying to put a good guy take on him.
He's one of those characters that I don't know that I've read really more than 1 or 2 stories in Thor with him. So all I visualize with Loki is, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Loki,
Well, there's not a lot of good Thor stories, but several of the good Thor stories do involve Loki. So
okay.
Specifically like the J. Michael Straczynski run of Thor. So.
Oh yeah.
Page 14, Captain Marvel issue number 50, which will apparently be Kelly Thompson's last issue on the title. So not sure where that book will be heading after the Kelly Thompson run ends.
And is that Monica Rambeau in that variant?
Yes, that is. So Photon / Captain Marvel / oh gosh, I mean, she's had so many different. She was with Next Wave, and I'm trying to remember what her name was inside of Next Wave. But yeah, they just, they needed somebody for Captain Marvel when they didn't have a Captain Marvel, and Carol Danvers was already Miss Marvel, so they had to, keep the keep the copyright to the name.
Yeah.
So, and now we're stuck with this Limbo character, who they keep putting in a Captain Marvel book, even though she's not Captain Marvel anymore. So. Now on page 15-ish, you have Chaos, Contest of Chaos, with the subtitle Chaos is Coming. So I assume this is going to be the next like crossover event at Marvel. And this really looks like it's going to be one of those multi-dimensional stories because of, everybody's just a little bit different, appearance on the cover. Looks like you have the Uncanny X-Force Wolverine, the Spider-Man. Spider-Man's got the weird yellow on his chest. That almost looks like Iron Man 2020. You've got I think that's the Red Skull Venom. Like he has a particular name that's actually going on in Avengers Forever and the end of the Jason Aaron Avengers run. So I think that's probably just a big crossover where we're heading probably for the summer in Marvel, but they don't give us any other details.
Very busy, full cover by Brian Hitch.
Yes. The artwork is not up to what I generally think of as Brian Hitch standards. It looks a little sloppy in spots. Yeah, it looks a little sloppy in spots to me. Yeah. So, especially when you compare it back to the Ultimate Invasion pieces.
You know how everything's relative. Not so great Brian Hitch is still pretty darn
good. Page 17, and feel free to jump in at any time. Scarlet Witch Annual 1. I don't really have anything to say about this book other than why are you putting out an annual for a book that doesn't have a monthly title? That's what I want to know.
I thought it did. I thought that Steve Orlando was writing.
It was a limited series.
It was a limited series?
I think so. Okay. Is there because there's not a Scarlet Witch in this issue. There's a trade later on.
Oh my gosh.
They did this crazy. Like with Silver Surfer a while back. There was no Silver Surfer book, and they came out with an annual, and a Captain America was
probably it was probably only a 6-issue series. So they should have called it a Scarlet Witch semi-annual.
Yeah, no kidding. Or just tag this on to the end.
Yes,
do something. I don't know, but that just bothers me.
We are easily bothered.
That's right. Okay, I'm only going to mention this because I'm right now working through the end of Jason Aaron's run on Avengers, before the reboot's coming here with the issue 2. And I just got to the point where Black Panther leaves the Avengers. But apparently that doesn't hold because here he's back in the Avengers. So, we're like 10 issues in the future and we know he's already back. I know he's back eventually. So,
or somebody didn't get the memo.
That's right. Who knows?
Oh, look at this Virgin variant cover by George Perez.
On
the Avengers #2. I wonder what that is.
Well, it's probably they are just taking some of his previous artwork. They do these hidden gems at Marvel, and they take previous cover art and just put it back on a book and recolor it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they're doing, but it doesn't because they don't show us anything, do they? None of these covers.
No, I mean
covers.
That makes the difference to me.
But usually they mark those as hidden gems, so I don't know.
Well, isn't a Virgin variant just is the Virgin just that it doesn't have any of the titling?
They got the title, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would still say hidden gems. Like there's a Herb Trimp hidden gems in here, someplace down the road, and maybe I think it was back on the Hulk book. Let me scroll back up there just to see if you were to go to page 6, right? There's a hidden gem variant cover by Herb Trimp. And it's basically just a previous cover that they, again, recolor and put back on. So, but they're not saying hidden gem for this because, Perez was on Avengers for quite a while for covers for sure. My first comic book I ever bought had a George Perez Avengers cover. So, it's.
Maybe it's something he did and they found it in a drawer and they're throwing it on there.
That's what I would. Yeah, that's what would make me buy it if it was something previously
original new.
Published.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. That would be cool. Page 20, Amazing Spider-Man number 27. Just mentioning because we got a Disney 100 cover. It's the I don't think they show it. Oh, it's on the cover of
that Iron Man one
with Mickey in the Iron Man armor doing the fist smash down landing. So doing a good pose there for anybody who's buying all those Disney 100 covers. Okay, I wasn't going to talk about this book. Page 22. Uh-oh. Deadpool, Batter Blood, 1 of 5. Because I'm not a Deadpool fan, but they show 3 pages of Rob Liefeld interior artwork. And I want you to notice, even on interior pages, what is missing?
No feet.
No feet. There are no feet on those interior pages.
So it's not just apocryphal. People always say, "Oh yeah, he draws feet."
Yeah,
I have yet to see.
Well, if you look at the very first page, that where Deadpool's jumping out of whatever that thing he's jumping out, there's some feet there, and I guess you got Wolverine's feet there and Cable's feet there. But they show the rest of the remaining parts of the 3 pages. No feet. And by the way, the cover where there's feet, that's not his artwork.
Right, I noticed that.
Right.
Now the next page on 23, we do get 4 characters on the cover. We see the feet for one of them. So
yes.
There you go. So we do see Deadpool's feet on the Rob Liefeld cover on page 23.
Do you think he actually, knowing people talk about this, do you think he stresses when he has to draw feet?
I don't think so. I just think
I would.
Yeah.
Well, I've said this. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. What he needs to do is he needs to kickstart a book where all of the main characters are just giant feet.
Yes.
That's what he needs to do. He doesn't need to draw feet with faces on them, just living their lives. He would make $1 million.
Yes.
Because everybody would buy it. I actually missed this the first time through the catalog, but on page 30 we got Daredevil and Echo number 2 of 4, and there's a variant cover by David Mack, and I actually saw that on the previews pullbox site because the variant cover is there if you want to actually take a look at it. So, and I can't remember if I ordered the David Mack cover for issue 1 or not. If I didn't, I screwed up. So. I feel like I'm doing all the talking, but until somebody of you guys says something, I'm going to keep going.
I'm not until 40, so.
Okay, page 31. Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider number 2. Apparently a new character, the Broker. So he got the big, pilgrim-looking hat type thing there going on, but new villain for Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider. And page 33, we got Venom issue number 21. Also a possible new character, Bedlam, who looks like a combination of Venom and four-armed Peter Parker back from Amazing Spider-Man 100. So,
not your father's Bedlam.
Not your father's Bedlam.
And not Baron Bedlam either.
And then I'm good till 54. So.
Well, then I'll get to 40, which was, it was really just a question. This title of this book is just, I don't quite understand it. It's called Son of Origins of Marvel Comics, Marvel Tales number 1. Okay. It's a reprint of origin stories. Mm-hmm. But is there a thing to the Son of Origins? Is that something that means something?
So one of the first trade paperbacks that Marvel did, if I remember this correctly, is called Son of Origins. And it basically took the origin story of a main character and then a second story. And it was all Stan Lee had prose between the stories explaining some of the plot points or the history about the characters. And those trades are relatively sought after just because of like people like me, I had them when I was younger because they didn't do trades all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So if you just search for Son of Origins, you'll see this cover. So this is probably an homage back to that. But ultimately, again, this is me just being the pessimist, whatever that I am. They want to keep some rights to that name, Son of Origins, so they got to come out with something else.
Yeah, that's why I knew there was some connection, because they wouldn't just name it that out of nowhere. It would have to be because of that.
Yep. So it's Son of Origins. And, it's been around since like 1975, apparently. So
it's kind of Marvel's version of DC's Secret Origins.
Secret Origins, yeah. Okay.
Well, but the Secret Origins was its own title. This was just a name of a reprint book.
It was there was one iteration of it that was his own title, but it also appeared in special one-offs too. Just the Secret Origins as a premise goes way before that. You had a 4-issue series called that, but then you also had DC specials. It was just a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I haven't seen that in a while with DC. So.
Oh, the Secret Origins?
Yeah.
They've been doing them because like in the last few years. Yeah,
yeah.
The last few years.
Last 8 or 6 years.
Oh, okay.
There'll be like some Secret Origin files and stuff like that books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like, well, I don't need to keep talking about that Son of Origins. So. I'm a 54 still.
I got 70 is my next one.
Okay, so 54, I'm actually mentioning this more for myself so I don't forget to order it. But the conclusion of the Captain America crossover Cold War, the final 2 issues in the 2 Captain America books, plus the Omega issue for the completist who wants the whole story. Yeah. And I'm done with Marvel.
Not forever, just this.
Just for this.
Just
over it. Done with Marvel.
I'm over Marvel.
Let me guess. We got a Star Wars book coming up here.
We got just a Star Wars. Yeah, just one. They're starting the Mandalorian season 2 comic series, and I don't normally talk about things to don't buy this, but don't buy this.
Okay, good.
I bought the entire season 1 of this, hoping that there would be like some cool deleted scenes, some like extended versions of things. No, it's just it's a panel by panel of the show. So if you're hoping to get anything like that, you're not going to get it. So don't buy this unless you just want the I guess there's a world where you can read a comic in less than 10 minutes or watch the show in 30 minutes. And so if you want like a quicker version of consuming that story again, that would be the only good thing I guess that comes out of it.
Did I miss it, or was Miracle Man not in this catalog?
Oh, I don't remember seeing Miracle Man in this catalog.
I did not see it either.
So
this is the first month I haven't seen it.
So maybe they're just taking a month off just so they can.
Well, I hope so, yeah. Or I hope they're not canceling.
Well, I need to read the first issue before I decide if they can cancel it or not.
I know. True. I'm in the same boat. I just didn't want to say it.
Oh gosh. All right, big book, which I'm just using pull box, so I don't have any page numbers again.
Oh,
we'll just go through.
Here we go.
So don't forget, if you're ordering with a comic shop, get your order in by the April 18th, so you can be sure and get the books that you want. So we want to start with Image.
Yep.
I got 3 things in Image.
Whoa. Okay.
I'll tell you what. You just want to round robin Image, so I'll start.
I like it.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Void Rivals. So this is a brand new shared universe from Robert Kirkman. So now we get some preview pages here online, but I am not like super impressed by the preview pages. But I will still, even though I'm not super impressed by the preview pages, I will probably be picking this up just in case it becomes something in the future. So
yeah, I always get the concern when somebody starts out with a shared universe, like from issue 1, it's like, this is going to be big, it's going to cover so many titles, and it's going to be awesome. And it just is like, I don't know.
By committing to something more than what I think I'm committing to.
Yeah, I feel like this is at least Radiant Black started as one title. I feel like this is like, hey, Kirkman, see if you can do a Radiant Black style thing.
Well, and that's the thing is like, what is this going to be the combination of? It's like Walking Dead was 28 Days meets Jericho.
Yes.
Yeah. So Firepower is, Karate Kid meets, Daredevil. So what is Void Rivals going to be the combination of that Kirkman puts together?
Right.
Yeah. You guys said it all. I had the same thoughts about it.
Shad, what do you got from Image?
I have there's a new mini series from the Bone Orchard kind of universe. There's also another shared universe. The Tenement #1 of 10. This is Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino's little world that they're building of horror stories that are interconnected but not overly interconnected. I've read I didn't read all of 10,000 Black Feathers, which was the series before this one. But I did enjoy the other offerings from this. Art style is cool. It has just a weird kind of mystery vibe. This kind of seems like the most Stephen King-y kind of thing that Lemire's done, and that it's kind of a world that kind of exists within all these different stories, but they don't necessarily touch all the time, and they're not straight up horror. They're not straight up any kind of fantasy. They're just kind of creepy. So I'm looking forward to. I will be picking up Tenement.
I had it earmarked as well. I mean, just Sorrentino's art alone is enough to convince almost anyone to buy this.
Right.
And I'm not familiar with this universe, shared or unshared, but Lemire's he's reputable, and you get art like that. It seems like and like what you said about being Stephen King-y, that's right up my alley. I didn't pick that up from what I read, but if you say that, then it makes me even more convinced I need to buy it.
Is Gideon Falls part of that, or is this separate?
Separate.
Okay, I thought it was, but I just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you got for Image?
In Image, other than this, the Bone Archer, I also had the Savage Dragon. It's number 267, and it's the
Isn't it 367?
No, it's 267.
267. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a 100-page super spectacular. It's got the retro 70s 100-page super spectacular trade dress. Cheap. Yes, I'm a cheap son of a gun, but that's enough for me to be like, oh, I have to have all 100-page super spectaculars, even if they avoided copyright infringement by just rewording it a little bit. It's basically their 30th anniversary special. So Eric Larson, this guy, he's just a machine. It's just amazing the amount of comics he's put out, and I think he's written and drawn every issue. I'm almost sure.
Unlike McFarlane on Spawn, who stopped drawing them after like issue 12.
Right.
Just it covers, Yeah, he's been the main driving force behind Savage Dragon, that's for sure. So.
Yeah.
My next book is Click Click Boom. It's a 5-issue series. Basically about a mute assassin who communicates exclusively through Polaroid pictures. I don't know why, but that
shake it.
Yep. And you get a few pages of preview art here online, and she does not talk through the entire process. So,
that's the only thing that puts me off from this. I don't know. I think I don't have dialogue.
You're gonna there is obviously dialogue in the book. So you have other characters who are doing the speaking.
Oh, I see. She's the only one that doesn't talk. Okay.
She's the only one that doesn't talk.
Because she's mute. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Now, she looks a little crazy, I guess. I mean, borderline Harley Quinn type personality. But anyway, it looks somewhat interesting.
My next Image book is Haunt You to the End, #1. It's a story by Ryan Cady, and art by Andrea, whoever, I don't know, Moody. And I really like the artwork. I like this artist. I've been picking up books that kind of show up from them. So I will probably get this one just to see what it's like. It says a ghost story for the end of the world. It's essentially kind of a, not post-apocalyptic, but like the apocalypse is kind of happening, climate change disasters, and maybe the world that we currently live in a way, and they have a billionaire and his group of people going to prove that there's life after death, so kind of a ghost hunting story. So seemed interesting. Like I said, I like the artist a lot, and just would like to see what they're doing.
Mike, back to you. Of course, he's muted, so he's just going to keep talking and talking.
Well, that's because I lost connection for a while.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
Yeah, so I muted it while I was saying what WTF, and so be glad that I did that. Junkyard Joe is a trade. It's the collection of the series that was put out by Jeff Johns. I didn't get it in single issues, but I'm tempted to get it. It's sort of a GI robot type character. Gary Frank art. It might be worth picking up as a trade. It's 6 issues, so maybe.
Okay. My last thing for Image, and I think we said horror anthology like 26 times last previews episode.
Right. Yeah.
So if you didn't get enough horror anthologies, there is yet another horror anthology, Tales of Suspense, Syzpense. I'm not sure what that's supposed to like emphasize or anything.
Same. I did not understand it either.
Yeah, but maybe it's like sci-fi suspense. Who knows? There's going to be 2 12-issue stories in each book. And then I went and looked at the preview pages for this, and it looks terrible. So I think my advice is to skip this one. But yeah, it does not look great. The 3 pages they give us is not enticing me to want to pick this book up. So,
what was the name of it again?
Tales of Suspense,
Suspense,
but it's
okay.
SY. So I think it's Suspense as okay. The split book revival is underway at Syzygy, Syzygy. So it's every month. Tales of Suspense presents 2 Titanic, which is an odd word for 12 pages, 12-page tales of terror and turmoil. So, yeah, another horror anthology. Doesn't look good. But if you like your horror anthologies, don't get enough last month.
Oh, so Syzygy is a publishing company.
Yes, I guess they're a sub brand off of Image. So
must be, yeah.
Yeah. I'm done with Image.
Same.
Mike, you got anything else, Image?
No.
Okay. I do not have anything from Boom this month. I'll save The Expanse, but that's just because it's issue 3.
What about Creed #1?
No. I don't care for boxing movies, let alone boxing.
Boxing comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything in Boom as well.
Okay. Dark Horse. I also don't have anything in Dark Horse this time.
Oh my world.
Well, Dark Horse is back it's in the alphabet again. So I'm flipping to it real quick.
Oh, okay. So I'm going through just through the full box. So this is the order that man, there was a ton of Image books this time.
I do have a Dark Horse book.
Okay, good.
There is a book called The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, and this was a Substack book. And I read the first couple of chapters because they kind of chaptered out maybe like 10 pages, 8 pages at a time. And it seemed like an interesting book. I don't know why I was part of the Substack, to tell you the truth, because I don't know who Tate Bromble is, or Nick Robles, or Isaac Goodhart, which is the creative team on it.
Well, but it's also James Tynion IV as the writer, as one of the writers.
Oh, okay, that's why then, because I did subscribe to his Substack for a bit.
That's probably what it is.
But it's a horror hero coming of age series that is Invincible meets Doom Patrol. The first 10, 20 pages or whatever that I read seemed pretty good, and it wasn't like, it was outside of what I normally read from James Tynion stuff. It was like as the cover kind of insinuates, a little bit brighter, a little bit more cartoony, and I kind of enjoyed that. So I might pick that up and actually read the full thing, because he was just giving out like previews if you weren't subscribed and paying, and I wasn't paying him for it on Substack.
All right. Nothing else from Dark Horse for anybody?
Nope.
Yeah, what about IDW?
I'd be lucky to find it in this catalog.
Well, I will mention I got my first issue today of Dungeons and Dragons Saturday Morning Adventures.
Oh yeah?
I have not read it yet, but I did flip through it, and it looks pretty good. So
okay.
Now here on the Pullbox site, they're showing 2 covers, but they're showing the exact same cover twice. So I don't know what the A or the B cover is. I don't know which cover they're actually showing me here. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. That's all I'm gonna say is I'm hopeful when I sit down and read that it's going to be good.
Okay.
I do have an IDW book.
Good.
There's a book called Bryn Mawr. It's by Steve Niles and Damian Worm, who did October Fraction together, which I enjoyed that book. And this is about a recently divorced and recently sober guy who's returning to his hometown to rebuild his life and rebuild a church as his new home. And but he has problems with the locals. So it's just a horror story about a guy moving into a creepy town that he once knew, which seemed interesting to me.
He doesn't say if it's, I guess it's going to be an ongoing until it's not, because it doesn't have an
Right.
issue count or anything like that.
Yeah.
If I knew that wasn't going to be a big commitment, I think I would pick that up too.
Right.
I'm almost going to mark that down. I like the way that looks. I miss that. So, I don't know. I guess at this point we can just free for all it, unless you guys have anything like from the bigger publishers left.
I don't know if Aftershock counts as a bigger publisher, but Aftershock is sort of spotlighting three different creators: Garth Ennis, Steve Orlando, and Cullen Bunn. And all three are very prolific. I mean, they do a lot of writing. And it does, when I look at these, they're not soliciting any single book or focusing on any one book. But like for Garth Ennis, they're soliciting complete hardcover or trade paperback collections for some of his series or books that he's done in the past, like Jimmy's Bastards or The Lion and the Eagles or The Eagle. Under Steve Orlando, you got Party and Prey, Rainbow Bridge, and under Cullen Bunn, Witchhammer, Dark Ark, and All My Little Demons. I think out of the three of them, Bunn seems to be all over the place. He is working for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, they also have a spotlight on Marguerite Bennett, who I have read some of her stuff, and she's a good writer. That's it. It was more of a general comment.
All right, Chad, what do you want to pick from the back of the book?
I've got on the Frank Miller Presents section, we have a Svengoolie Lost in Time book. And
I figured you would mention that. I had it down just in case you missed it. So.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I mean, we've got just a horror anthology. I did not expect that to be coming out of a Frank Miller Presents.
No.
But I mean, if you are into Svengoolie or any of the horror hosts, then this is bound to be something that, if not actually scary, at least comically scary.
Well, so just so we can go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm just, if anything, Svengoolie is that over the top, campish, scary.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, just so we can say anthology yet one more time, I'm going to talk about Xino, Xino #1. This is from Oni Press, and this is a sci-fi anthology that's using Oni's brightest talents, past, present, and future. So it looks like there's going to be 3 oversized 40-page issues. And one of the names, Shad, that you might recognize out of this one is Melissa Flores from Dead Lucky and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So, anyway, another anthology. This one's sci-fi. Mike?
I'm on, well, I won't even say the page number. Doesn't really matter. This is under Creepy Classics Monster Bash. It's a Monster Bash magazine number 50. Which the cover has a cool image of Frankenstein. Of course, I mentioned this because of our Muddy Monster comics being our home shop, and it's something that anybody that might be going into Mike's store would, for the monster part of it, would be like, hey, I'd like to see this. Can you give me this issue, Mike?
I've got from Black Mask Studios. I don't normally do black and white books because I'm not my favorite. But I thought this was kind of a cool horror book. It's called Leaded Gasoline, and it is set in the 80s, and it's about a killer that's stalking the streets of South Central LA. And there are detectives trying to figure out what is going on as the killer keeps on killing. It's got a community college surrounded. It's a perfect like 80s horror kind of movie in my head, and to see it kind of come to life. It is black and white. That's the only thing I would be like, I don't know. Give me some color. Come on.
This is a book I will not be buying, but I do think it is worth mentioning. We have issue 300 of Gold Digger from Antarctic Press. So anytime a book, reaches that milestone, that is something worth mentioning. So Ben Dunn, this is a Ben Dunn creation, I believe, and they've hit 300. So there you go. Now, they're soliciting 300, and I don't know that 287 has come out yet. So
that's true. They are a little delayed, aren't they?
Yeah, so they're running a little behind, I think, on their books, but they still, other than what you got, Cerebus, Spawn, if you don't count things like Uncle Scrooge, right? Not a whole lot of other books hit 300 issues. So.
Yeah.
My turn?
Your turn.
Under Eva Inc. Publishing, we have The Cloaked Crusader, George Washington in Comics and Pop Culture hardcover. So this just features our founding father in different, being featured in different areas within our in pop culture, whether it be in comics or otherwise. So being someone who has collected covers of comics that have a cover featuring Abe Lincoln, I could see why this might be interesting. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
All right, from Invader Comics, we have Animals #1, and all I have to say is killer animal zombies. Essentially, we're in it's a national park. And we've got some people are dying from these animals that have been long dead, and eyewitnesses are saying that they come back to life and they're killing the people, and so the sheriff has to figure out what's going on.
Well, I will maintain the zombie theme with Mother Russia issue 1 from CEX Publishing, and basically the premise is one baby, one rifle, 2 million zombies. So you have a zombie apocalypse during World War II. So there you go. More zombies. I assume the zombies, I don't know if they're going to be German or Russian or maybe both. Who knows?
Could be.
Mike?
Okay. Mercury Comics has, they're putting out Atomica Omnibus Volume 1, God is Red hardcover. It's something I have already. I bought it through the Kickstarter campaign of Sal Abenanti, who has been, I first heard of this guy. He calls into CGS all the time, and he's hilarious, but he's actually also a pretty good writer and artist.
Uncle Sal?
Is that Uncle Sal. That's who that is. Okay. So I did, because of listening to him on CGS, I thought, well, I'm going to support the Kickstarter and get this hardcover. I haven't read it yet, but it basically has to do with this character battling the old mythological gods of Slavic Russia. So so it's the first time I've seen it in previews, and I thought it was worth mentioning. Maybe in a month or two I'll have read this and I can report back.
From Red 5 Comics, this kind of fits for both a muddy monster spotting, or just a monster spotting, and also a kind of a neat premise for a book. This is Prometheus in Chains #1, and I'll just read the solicit because it sounds pretty cool. Professor Victor and Elizabeth Frankenstein have joined the Manhattan Project after fleeing Nazi Germany. When Elizabeth passes away from cancer caused by radiation exposure, Victor spirals into the deepest depths of depression. Haunted by guilt, grief, and regret, a new kind of monster comes to life. It's like kind of a cool Frankenstein mixed in with the historical like Manhattan Project and everything. I was like, well, that's kind of a neat take on that.
Thank you for mentioning that book, because I missed that, And if you look who the cover artist is, Les Lyndon Garner, he was at my convention last year in Harrisburg, Illinois. So I need to pick that up because he might be coming back this year for the show if it happens. So I've got to pick that up.
That's cool.
Maybe pick up a few copies of that. That is awesome. He's the cover artist for that. From Source Point Press, all right, we have Murder by Mail. So the idea of this comic is an interactive comic book where you basically have to solve a previously unsolved murder case. I don't know how many. I'm looking to see if it says how many issues it actually is. It doesn't, so I don't know if it's going to be one self-contained case per issue, if there's only one issue, but anyway, the idea of like solving it as you read it, I think is pretty interesting, right?
I do too.
And drawn by Joshua Werner. So this is also something I will be picking up.
I had this flagged as well because I thought, well, how cool would it be to try to solve, like you would have to wait every month to like, if it wasn't ongoing and you would have to get clues every month that would help you solve the case, would be pretty cool.
So either way, if it's one per month or an ongoing, it's got my interest.
Yeah.
Under Ohio University Press, there is something that I guess that you would call it a shameless plug for my Comic Shop Roadshow podcast. But this book is called Comic Shop, the Retail Mavericks Who Gave Us a New Geek Culture. And it's basically covering people like Steve Geppi, Bud Plant, Chuck Rozanski of Mile High Comics. And it sounds like they've interviewed them and profiled them. And it sounds like something that I could write off as a tax expense, for the podcast. It's only $17.95.
And then I think my last book to cover is from Sumerian Comics, is The Pink Elephant #1, which is by this weird creative team that I keep buying the books for, and they're weird, and I still like it. Is E&E Pliskin and Benson Chin, who did Heavy Metal Drummer, which I've talked about. The Firstborns is currently coming out, which I am getting. I haven't read Purple Oblivion, but this is an 80s slasher. It says 80s slasher, lethargic, weird indie Lynch-esque story. And it's about a group of teens who meet a creepy old woman at a gas station, and then things get weird. So I never know what their books are about, but I keep picking them up, and I don't know why. And I'll keep doing it.
We're all guilty of that.
How many more things you got, Mike? Are you?
I think I have one more.
Okay, well I got 3 more, so I'll go with Monsters Cleanup Guy. This is a 2-issue series from Blood Moon Comics, and basically this is the story about the guy who has to clean up all the messes that the monsters make when they kill people, so that people don't learn that there are monsters out there in the world. So anyway, it's like Damage Control from Marvel, except for he's the damage control for wolf werewolves as opposed to superheroes.
Or sort of the what was the character on Pulp Fiction? Angelina Jolie's dad. He was the cleanup guy.
I've never seen Pulp Fiction, so I cannot get the reference. So.
Oh my goodness. Need to see that. Chad, you want to go, or do you have any more? Or
I'm all done.
It's you.
Okay.
It's you.
So my last one is my obligatory Tomorrow's publishing plug. Alter Ego number 183 features a spotlight on Irv Novick. Anyone that's read, Batman or The Flash from the 70s will recognize this artist. He has a sort of recognizable style. I wouldn't say he was an artist that I would pass. He wasn't someone I'd pick over people like Neil Adams or Jim Aparo. But he had a real consistent and solid style for the Batman books. Even over Don Newton, I even would pick over him. But Irv Novick he was old enough to be an artist in the Golden Age as well, and just he's deserving, I think, of a spotlight in an issue of Alter Ego. So, of course, I'm going to get it.
So my last two things are this month, I think, is the first official solicits for the next copy of the Overstreet comic book price guide, volume 53. You've got an Avengers cover, you have a Frank Frazetta Death Dealer cover, and then you have a Golden Age hero on the big book, which I am completely unfamiliar with, named Blackout. So yeah, I'm not familiar. They say it's an almost forgotten, definitely Golden Age hero is featured on the cover of the big Overstreet comic price guide number 53. So yeah, I've forgotten about it. Don't know if I ever knew that this character existed. So
Blackout is a Marvel Comics character.
That's a newer version. That's not this character.
Oh, it's not this one? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that character I know.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I know that Blackout. I do not know this Blackout.
Oh, it must be Lev Gleason, the public domain.
Lev Gleason, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would be it for sure. So
okay.
And then the last thing is my monster sighting for this is Monster Bash, and this is issue number 50. They also say it's the landmark 50th anniversary edition of this classic movie monster magazine, and they have Frankenstein's monster on the cover for issue 50. All right, Mike, part here.
I just looked up Blackout, Golden Age Blackout on fandom, comic fandom, and his powers were he was super strong, had a natural camouflage in darkness, and possessed night vision. So yeah, he's just basically someone who looks like he's in a complete black stocking with gargles. But now I'm like, it's all public domain, so I know I can go to one of those public domain Golden Age whatever sites and download. So I may have to read an issue with this guy.
Well, maybe that's what we should do for an upcoming issue. You find a link to one of his public domain stories, and we'll read it for maybe 159.
Okay.
All right. Okay, you got that. All right. So, all right. So we want to do, Mike, which book are you looking forward to out of this month's catalog?
Oh my Lord, I blanked. I had it all, and I forgot. Can we go to someone like Shad?
So yeah, Shad. What about you? What are you?
Can we go to someone like Shad?
Do you want me to go first? I could go first.
Well, Shad's the only other person besides.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm looking forward to the new installment of the Bone Orchard series, that Tenement #1 from Image.
I think what I'm going to have to say is that Murder by Mail interactive RPG comic. That's just something that just sounds appealing to me. So I am definitely going to be picking that up and looking forward to seeing if I can resist turning to the back page, right? Not starting at the back. Try not to cheat, Scott. Try not to cheat. All right, Mike, you got it. Okay, you got to pick it out yet? What you're looking for?
Someone like Mike now is going to pick what he's looking forward to, and that's Steelworks #1. I mean, it's just because the character deserves it, and it's the first issue. They're going to have to come up with a pretty good story to tell in 6 issues. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, and then investment pick. What do we got? Shad, first again?
Yeah, I'll go first again. I had one thought, but I think you'll probably pick it, so I'm gonna go with a different one. I'm gonna go with the DC Pride 2023. I think any of those the Pride or the Voices Pride from Marvel are both ripe for the picking of any kind of potential characters that are new that could be shown in TV, movies, whatever, what have you.
Are they introducing new characters in those books this month?
You never know.
I thought it was all existing characters.
You never know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I mean, well, and I guess it doesn't have to be necessarily a new character. It could be a storyline that is plucked from there for something as well. So yeah, the DC Pride 2023 would probably be my investment pick. Plus, I'm already gonna pick it up, so that's easy to say.
All right, I've lost the title of my book.
Void
I
Rivals.
was going to pick. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was what I was going to pick.
That's clutch.
Yes. So actually, I had a couple here. I also I'm torn between Void Rivals and Click Click Boom. Believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Because the preview pages we got for Void Rivals was not great, but the fact that it could become something, Kirkman sometimes, he's going to get a pass on some ideas just because of the success of Walking Dead.
Right.
So if this is the next big thing he pitches, then yeah, Void Rivals #1 could definitely be the sci-fi TV on AMC to replace Walking Dead. Now that's pretty much run its course, other than a couple of movies or something like that. But we'll see.
But I could totally see Click Click Boom being something they would adapt, or could easily be like kind of on not humongous, but something low key on like Amazon Prime TV show or something.
Exactly. Yeah, Netflix, any of, because they're all desperate for material,
Yeah.
So, and that would be with, you have a mute character, you get that whole inclusivity, going on, because that's not something that we see a lot of in TV. So either of those, I think, would be reasonable picks if you're just wanting to put some money down on something.
Yeah, and the reason I didn't earmark it, I thought it looked like a good book, but I thought the whole thing was like, that silent issue of G.I. Joe.
Oh.
I'm like, no, I don't want that, and I just missed it.
Oh, whoa! Are you mocking the silent issue of G.I. Joe?
No, I just don't think that I would like it. I haven't even read that, so I can't really say.
Wow.
I don't. That's too much work for me to figure out unless it's a really, really good artist. But all I'm saying is that you have changed my mind, and it's one of those earmarks. I've dog-eared that page because of what you have said about it, so I'll get it.
All right. So what is your investment pick then?
Okay, so you're the scholar, you're the investor, you know what's going to be worth something. I'm not picking a new appearance or a first appearance. So Shad's probably like, shoot, I should have went ahead and picked that one. But I'm picking Titans #2 because in that issue, it says a Titan is murdered. Now, do deaths or last appearances carry any weight at all in the aftermarket?
Only when they stick.
Yeah.
And how many deaths have stuck, really?
Yeah, so this is really a roll of the dice. I don't know if it'll stick.
Yeah,
but I don't even know who it's going to be, but I thought surely I can do better than just picking one of them where it says new character,
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So, all right. So, Shad, what do we got coming up for 158?
150. Well, 159 because this is 158.
Because this is 158. I can't.
Sad. You should have said we'll have previews. Matter of fact,
we'll have previews on.
We've already done it. It's finished.
You just
that one's
heard
in the can.
For 159, we're going to be covering Camelot 3000 and Motor Girl.
And Mike, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, where would they do that at?
Well, other than podcasts at what's the
bergcomics.com.
Yeah, right. Okay. If it's not that, then it's going to be m.atchison90 at gmail.com or on Twitter.
Shad, what about you?
You can find me on Facebook always at Shad Schubert. That's SHAAD SCHUBERT.
And I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at bergcomics.com, BURG comics.com, with links to all of my social media pages. And we'll be back soon with another episode.
Well, okay, so we are at the Flash number 800. Of course, this is a legacy numbering that came back a couple years ago. There's, it seems... It comes back when it's convenient. When it's convenient, yes. I'm very mixed. I have mixed feelings about having the legacy numbers on these, because we know already that the next issue is going to be a brand new number 1. And at some point, they'll put the legacy number... Uh-oh. Did we lose him? I don't know. He's frozen, yes. So, maybe that's why he didn't stop when I was talking about him. So, you actually cut out for about 5 seconds. So, I did. Yes. Okay. So, go on. So this is